In this video, we're going to look at how to find missing angles inside a triangle. Hopefully you can remember that the magic number that all of the angles inside a triangle add up to is 180 degrees. This fact helps us to work out lots of different missing angles that we can come across inside triangles. For example, on this triangle, we can see that we've got one angle of 40, one angle of 70. When we add those two together, we get a total of 110. What we need to do with that total is subtract it from 180. So we do 180, because there are 180 degrees in a triangle. We subtract the 110, because that's what the other two angles add up to, and that gives us a missing angle of 70. Therefore, we know that this angle down here must also be 70 degrees. That also means that this particular triangle is an isosceles because it's got two angles that are equal and it's got two sides that are equal. Let's have a look at another example. On this example, we would need to start by first of all adding the 57 and the 36 together. That's going to give us a total of 93 degrees. Once we've got that, we need to go back to our 180 degree total and we need to subtract the 93. And to work this one out, you can use column subtraction, same as you always would. So 10 take away 3 is 7 and 17 take away 9 is 8. We know that angle A must be 87 degrees. In this particular example, all of the angles are different. None of them are the same, so we know that this one's going to be a scalene triangle. Sometimes angles are given different names. So this one they've used U, V and W. They could have used A, B, C. It really wouldn't have made any difference. But in this example, they've only named one angle, and that's the 51, which is up here. But you need to look carefully at the mark that you've got down here. Whenever you see that square, you should know that that means that that angle is a right angle and it's 90 degrees. So you'd need to just do exactly the same process. Take your 90, add on your 51 to give you a total of 141 and then subtract that from 180. So 180 and take away the 141 and that will give you the missing angle for W, which in this case will be 39 degrees. In this example, the missing angle has been called X, and that's one that we need to find. So to work out X, we would just need to do the same process. Add 82 and 62 together, find your total, and then subtract that from 180. So that would be 144 degrees, and you need to take your 180, subtract your 144 to give you a missing angle X of 36 degrees. Once we've found our missing angle here of 36, we could also use the information there to extend this line and to work out what the rest of this angle here would be. So if we call this angle Y, it's possible to work out Y because of another key fact. We know that inside a straight line we have got, again, 180 degrees. So to work out Y this time, we need to do 180 degrees and take away 36. That's going to give me my total of 144. Hopefully you can see the pattern. So this diagram helps us to see how it all fits together. The key facts to remember are that inside your triangle you have got 180 degrees and they all need to add up to that. And the other key fact to remember is that angles within a straight line, these two, C and D, are also going to add up to 180 degrees. As soon as you've worked out what A, B and C are, that means you can always work out D. This is a slightly harder example as well. Let's say that you've been given this top angle in this example, and you know that this top angle is 34 degrees. Initially, there don't seem to be many other clues as to how to work out the other angles, but that's where these key signs come into play. These little dashes on the lines tell you that these sides are equal. So the dashes on the lines mean that the sides are equal. If both of those sides are equal, then hopefully you'll realise that it is an isosceles triangle. And once you know it's an isosceles triangle, you'll hopefully also know that these two angles down here also have to be equal. So to work this one out, you would need to start off with your 180 degrees, you would need to take away your 34, that's going to leave you with 146. Once you've got your 146, that needs to be split equally between these two angles down here. So you'd need to do 146 and divide it by 2. That's going to make each of those angles worth 73 degrees. Now, how these questions are written and set out can still get harder. And in this example, this angle here we're going to say is about 55. Remember, these are not drawn to scale. I'm going to say that this angle here is about 26. And then I'm going to say that the angle down here is going to be 3x. Now, to work this one out, it's using a little bit more algebra, but it's nothing to be scared of. First of all, take the two angles that you know, take the 55 degrees and take the 26, and add them together. When you do that, you'll hopefully find that you've got 81. What you then need to do is take 180 and subtract 81. In this case, you can see that you're going to be left with 99. Once you've got 99, you know that this angle here must be worth 99 degrees, but you're told that this is 3 values of x, and what you're being asked to work out is 1x. So if 3 values of x equal 99, then one value of x must be 99 divided by 3. And that means that x is 33 degrees. Remember, none of these triangles are drawn to scale, so the angles don't actually have to look anything like the values they're claimed to be. This angle here is obviously not 78 degrees, but for the purposes of this, I'm labelling it as that. On this particular example, here we've got an angle which is going to be x plus 20 degrees. Again, it's just some of the algebraic phrasing trying to catch you out. Our process is just the same. You take the angles that you know, so you're going to start off with your 78, and onto that you're going to add on your 35. So when we add these together, 8 and 5 gives us 13, and 7 and 3 is 10, and 1 is 11. So that gives a total of 113 for those two angles. We need to go back to our 180, and we should do 180, and we need to subtract our 113. That's going to leave us with 10 take away 3 is 7, that's going to leave us with 67. So we know that this angle here, that x plus 20, is going to give us 67. So what I need to do now is take our 67 and I need to subtract the 20 from it, which is going to give me 47. And that 47 degrees is x over here. So x plus the 20 gives me a total of 67, plus the 78 and the 35 gives me a whole total of 180. You should now be ready to tackle your Mathletics homework. Keep going and make sure you get a gold bar, please.